Okay. You want to count us in?
3, 2, 1.
No, in Spanish.
Oh,
Ooh.
3, 2.
No, in another language, you know.
3, 2, 1.
What was that?
Is that Brazilian?
Portuguese.
Portuguese.
Not that much of a difference. But.
What up? Welcome to yet another episode of Necro fucking Electric. I am Sean. This little hunk of sexiness over here is my bride, Kylie Skellington. And the always fiery Susana Lopez.
Remind me of Squidward.
When he freaks out, all his tentacles. Relatable.
We were gonna have a guest today, but some shit came up. So we're gonna do our thing. So what is our topic today?
Our topic today is tattoos.
Tattoos.
Tattoos. Yes.
I have a few. You have a few?
I have a few.
I have a few hidden few.
A hidden few? Do you get them in hidden places because of family shit or work shit or what?
Work shit.
Work
Because
shit.
I was, thinking of going to law school, and I was working in the law offices, and I had to kind of cover up my tattoos.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
But I got them way before that.
Gotcha.
But I had to do that because of future planning for sure.
That was definitely a lecture from everybody older than me.
Yeah.
They were like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Like, I'm pretty tattooed. I'm tattooed enough to be, I would say, in the heavily tattooed category. Whoa. Kept my notifications
fancy.
on. It was eBay. Sweet. And I think I'm tattooed enough to be heavily tattooed, but I think in that heavily tattooed category, I'm on the low spectrum.
Yeah.
I got
Yes.
my arms, my hands, my stomach, my chest, and my back and part of my neck, and I have a little tiny spider, black widow, on my foot.
I did it.
Aw.
She did it.
I tattooed
She has
it.
the same exact tattoo on her foot. I tattooed it and she tattooed mine.
Yeah.
Aw.
And Bane, when you're old enough, you're getting that little black widow on your fucking foot too.
Oh,
Aw.
it's a gang?
Yeah,
Jump him
it's
in.
our family crest.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I
Shut me down.
gotta tattoo my legs and then my lower back,
Yeah.
and then I'll be good.
Would you say that I'm more tattooed than you?
What do you have? You have
I think I might be.
you have your legs and your sleeve.
The whole front of this leg, the front of this thigh, my lower stomach and hips, my left side, my right sleeve, my forearm, what's this area called?
Sternum.
Sternum.
Ooh, fancy.
And you got some on your
And my
shoulders.
shoulder.
Yeah, you might be. Fuck, I don't know.
Maybe.
Would you get face tattoos?
No.
No, I'm not a big
Yeah.
fan of it.
Oh, fingers.
I like the
Like a
finger
little-
tattoos. Yeah.
Raindrop or
Teardrop.
Teardrop.
Depends
And
what
an
you do.
umbrella. I could
was
do it either
cute.
way.
I go back and forth on getting my throat tattooed.
Oh my
But-
god, how'd
You
that
already did
feel?
your neck, the side of your neck.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. I hesitate, but.
But you look good with this fuzziness going on. And I feel like a lot of men look kind of weird when they have beards and throat tattoos.
Oh, okay.
I feel like
The
it's a
combination
lot.
of it.
It's
okay.
a lot going on.
Oh, okay, yeah. Like if it's too fucking long too.
Oh.
So, I'm just saying.
How do you live with
There's
a beard
some
that
beards.
long?
I don't know. If you're gonna have a super beard, I have nothing against beards at all. More power to you, but take care of it. If it looks like fucking pubes, I'm like, come on, dude. Brush it, use the
Yeah.
cream, do the thing. Because,
Maintain.
make it look nice, and but some of them like to make it look all just
Craziness.
There's food crumbs in there, bird's nest. I don't know.
What I think I've mentioned it before, but I was a tattoo artist for almost 10 years and had a little shop in Livermore, and it was a cool little period in time.
Yeah, I
And then at a certain point, you have to kind of either dedicate to music or dedicate to fucking art. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
make a
I made my
decision.
choice.
Yeah, it's cool.
But you did my whole arm?
Yeah, I did her whole sleeve.
Yeah, my whole sleeve.
A lot of people.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. Like when if anybody's ever interested in like a career in tattooing, it's a lifestyle, and it's a fun lifestyle for sure, but it's not all, especially in the early days, it's not all gold and glitz, you know. Basically you have to be able, like a lot of people are like, oh, I want to be a tattoo artist so I don't have to have like a 9-to-5 job. You will be at a tattoo shop way more than 9 to 5.
Yeah.
You'll be there from morning till fucking midnight.
Yeah.
You know, it's
And then as part of the job, you have to like go out and socialize if you want more clients.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's the best way,
Marketing.
especially when you're coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to go out after work and go meet people and show them, bring your phone, show them all your work, pass out business cards. You know, you gotta live that life.
hustle.
And it's fun. It's fun. And then some months you'll be rich, and then other months you'll be broke. That's how it always was with me.
Yeah.
Sounds like car sales.
Yeah, it's close because you have hardcore people that want to get tattooed, but if you live in an area that has like many tattoo shops,
Oh, yeah.
it's seasonal in a way, you know. So, but it's fun though. I had tons of stories from like, you know, living it out, you know.
What's the worst tattoo that you've done? Like the weirdest request for a tattoo?
The weirdest one I didn't do. Adam did.
Oh, okay.
It was
Adam also was a tattoo artist.
the
with
duffel
him
bag
at the
porn
shop.
guy. Yeah.
Oh, that guy.
A couple shops together. He had a client, and the guy, Adam's really into anime and like fantasy kind of stuff, you know. And this dude wanted like some Dungeons and Dragons type fucking shit right on his forearm. And he came in the day of, and then he was like a weird trench coat mafia looking kind of dude, you know, a bit, you know, little.
I sell watches.
Yeah, you know, yeah, exactly. You know, you don't know if he's wearing pants under it, kind of deal. And he came in and he's like, I want to change it up. I want a headless crow, headless bird.
Oh.
And Adam was like, you know, and then I'm sitting there right next to him, and he's like, what the fuck, dude? You know?
Yeah,
And he's like,
weird.
it's kind of weird. What's up with that? And the guy told us the story. He went to a party, and he's kind of an outcast of sorts, but he has some friends. And he went to this party, and he's kind of antisocial, and he wanted to leave early, and everybody was giving him shit about it, and the guy left. And then the next people to leave the party walked out, and they saw a headless crow just chilling on their fucking like patio or whatever. And
That's weird.
And then they called him up. They're like, "Did you kill a fucking bird and rip his fucking head off?" You know, and he was laughing about it, and he thought it was really funny, and so he wanted to immortalize it with the tattoo.
Did he do it?
Yeah.
He
And
did it.
after the story, because Adam
motherfucker.
didn't want to do it at first, and then after the story, Adam was like, "Okay, well, you know, if that's
I would have been like, you march your happy ass out of here before I rip your head off.
I guess it was like an impactful moment for him.
Yeah.
Being socially awkward, he's like, ooh, I made people like remember and talk
Yeah.
about me and notice me and X, you know. And it's like you did it in the worst way, dude. Like you didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in a street shop too, because we weren't in like a high end big piece shop. You know, it was, you know, a walk-in shop.
Yeah.
And day in, day out, you do names, you do clovers, you do hearts, you do infinity signs.
How many of those have you done?
You do the same shit over and over, script all day, all day.
Roses.
So when someone comes in and they're like, "Yeah, give me a headless bird," you're like, "All right." You know?
Yeah, and,
I'll take
in
it.
the art, in the art perspective, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, cool, yeah.
But the story goes for a while, right?
Oh no,
There's
I thought
twists
it
and
was
turns.
over.
No, there's twists and turns.
We're not
so
done.
so he does the tattoo, right? And the dude digs it, and we're like, okay, cool, you know, whatever. And he leaves. 6 months later, this dude comes in, and he's like, I want to get the head of a crow.
Wait,
A severed head of a
separate dude?
Yeah,
Different dude?
Different guy.
Completely different. Didn't
Different
know.
guy comes in, and he's like, I want to get a severed head of a crow on our
What?
forearm. And then me and Adam were like looking at each other. We're like, what the fuck, dude? You know,
Yeah.
we're like, we had a dude, you know, 6 months ago get a fucking headless body of a crow. You know, what's up with this? And he was like, oh, that was my friend. He's like, my friend, he got hit by a car and got killed.
No.
Oh,
And
I feel bad
he
now.
had a
Kind of.
tattoo. And he told us the same story. He was like, he was at a party and he left, and we gave him shit and about this bird we found, and he ended up getting the tattoo. And I want to honor him and get the head of the bird.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
Wow.
So that was probably the weirdest.
Life's too short.
The weirdest one.
I guess get a crow.
Crow.
They are.
I have a crow right here.
Yeah, there you go. You already got it.
Actually, I have another one on my thigh too.
Yeah, you do.
They're smart birds.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get a lot of like weird stuff. I remember, I'll tell you guys the hitman story.
Did you tattoo a hitman?
This was my tattoo. What happened was, we were really busy because we had a few years where there was like no other tattoo. It was like we had like low competition, and then after a few years, like 7 shops opened up in our little town, and then
Damn.
it got really competitive,
Yeah.
But like during the good years, we were like super busy, so I had to hire another guy, and I took a recommendation from another tattoo artist about this fucking guy named George, right? And he comes in and he's a little off, and he shows me his portfolio, and it's like it's pretty good, right? So I'm like, all right, man. Well, you came recommended, so we'll rent you a booth, and because I had partners and stuff, and so he rents the booth. I notice his work schedule is all wacky and weird. This guy's a little off, and then this dude comes in, and he's dressed really nice, like high-end watches, everything, right? Totally out of the normal kind of guy for our area that our shop was in. And he comes in, and Adam's watching George talk to him. And at our shop, you had a $50 deposit if you wanted to get a tattoo, if you wanted somebody to design something for you and secure your date for the tattoo, right?
Yeah.
And that's all we take, right? You never take full payment for a tattoo before the work's done, And so he's listening to him, and George takes $600 deposit from this guy.
What?
Right?
Damn,
and then Adam hits me up, and he's like, hey, man, just to let you know, fucking George took like a $600 deposit off this dude.
Oh, that's not right.
And then I was like, oh, dude, that's not
George
fucking cool at all.
Shady.
And I'm like, who was it? And he's like, oh, it was that weird guy that was all dressed like super nice, right? And then I'm pretty good like feeling people out. Like I've been around a lot of shady ass fucking people in my life, and I get a pretty quick feel for like dangerous people, or and I kind of got like a weird feeling about that guy. And so I hit up another one of my friends that was at the tattoo shop hanging out. This Mexican guy, he's kind of a gangster dude. And I hit him up, and I'm like, hey, do you know this fucking guy? And he's like, yeah, dude, don't fuck with that guy. Like, he's like, I wouldn't even tattoo him, dude. You don't want to associate yourself with that guy.
Ooh, no bueno.
And I'm like, oh man. I'm like, well, my one of my dudes already took fucking, $600 fucking deposit from this guy. And he's like, yeah. He's like, just get him in, get him out, and fucking be done with him, dude, if you want my advice. And I was like, all right. So dude's supposed to come back. He comes back on the date. By that time, I'd figured out that George had a meth problem.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, I wanted to fire him, right?
Okay.
But I know I have this whole situation. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to play this situation out. Once the tattoo's over, I'll cut strings with him. And then George comes in. He's all kind of fucked up. Dude walks in, and George is like, yeah, I'm under the weather. I can't do it. And the guy's like, all right, man. Well, what day can you do it?
Okay,
and he's like, all right,
Okay.
Well, you can tell he's being upset though. He's irritated, obviously. And then this was like on a Tuesday, and he's like, come back on Friday, and then George is gone. He's just fucking gone. He never
disappeared.
He disappears, right? Fuck. For like that. I don't see that guy for like a month.
And then spotting.
Before I finally fire him, right? So then this dude comes in on Friday, and he's supposed to be getting this like Incredible Hulk, like Irish thing. It's kind of weird. It's like Incredible Hulk with like a rosemary like thing, and George sketched it up, but I have no idea where the sketch is or whatever, right?
Oh no.
So I have to like get this dude's number, call him. Dude comes in. I just redrew from like what I could make of the chicken scratches of the notes that I did find. And then the guy's like, okay, no, this is cool. And I explained the situation, and he's not happy about it. But I'm like, whatever. And I'm taking the hit because George already took the fucking money.
Yeah,
so you're
not gonna get paid for that.
Yeah, I gotta track him down for this fucking shit. But I'm like, whatever, I'm just gonna take care of this dude, so I don't want any fucking weird shit. So I get in there, I put the fucking stencil on the dude, I do the outline, everything's cool. A girl comes flying in to the shop, right? She's crying, blah blah blah. She's like, I thought you were fucking like, you know, told them no and this and that. And he's like, what are you doing? Like, get the fuck out of here. And she's like, fuck you, motherfucker. Like, starts throwing this big scene, right? And I'm like, hey man, you gotta calm her down, and you know, we need to get this done.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah.
And he was like,
happening?
Yeah.
and he, you know, he took her outside and he's screaming at her, and then they come back in and she's quiet and sits down. And then he gets a call and he's like, we gotta go. He's like, well, I'm in the middle of like a tattoo. Can I wait till tonight? And he's like, all right, then whatever, that's fine, you know. And then he hangs up the phone and he's like, hey bro, like, I'm sorry, but I gotta leave town. I gotta go to Vegas. I just got, you know, a job or whatever that has to go, right? And I'm like, okay, well, we'll reschedule you. And then that chick starts like crying and screaming again, like, you're not gonna come back, you're gonna be fucking dead, I know what you're getting involved in, you know. And he's just like, shut the fuck up, and like all this shit. And I'm like, I'm sitting there, and
I was just gonna say, it's like a movie.
And me and Adam are like, we're trying to figure out like, how real is this?
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, you know, what the fuck is going on here? And then a car fucking pulls up. No kidding, fucking two dangerous ass looking fucking dudes get out. They walk in, they're like, let's go. He gets up, dude pulls out $1,100 and says, I don't know if I'm going to be back to get this filled in. He's like, I know you're trying to fucking, you know, take care of me after that dude fucked me over or whatever. He's like, here's $1,100.
No
He's
way.
like, if I come back into town, I'll call you. If I don't, you know, good luck, man. And then the chick starts like pulling on him and crying, and he like, kind of pushes her.
That was,
and
like,
he gets
his
in the
last
car and
Oh
he
my
fucking
God.
leaves. I never see that dude again.
I feel like you just wrote the beginning of a movie.
Tarantino was like, all right, Sean.
Yeah.
That's what happened. I never saw that dude again.
That's
Chick fucking
crazy.
bailed out. I got $1,100 for doing an outline.
Wow.
Fuck.
So,
Wow.
yeah, that was one.
That was dope. I like that. Let me go get some more popcorn.
Yeah.
That's life in a fucking tattoo shop.
Do we have a sponsor, maybe?
Yes, we do. Oh my god, I almost read the wrong one. This episode is brought to you by Dark and Jury Clothing. Dark and Jury is an edgy fashion and lifestyle brand that embraces great design and unsurpassed quality. Dark and Jury has quickly gained a following amongst fans of occult, horror, punk rock, heavy metal, and all-around free thinkers and retailers worldwide without shoving a preachy, trendy, or political message down your throat. So buy the best, fuck the rest, darkandjuryclothing.com.
We got a new website up. Go check it out.
Yep.
Looks dope. Do you guys know that in New York it was illegal to tattoo or get tattooed until 1997?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's crazy.
cool.
Yeah,
I
'cause
mean, no, I didn't know
That's
that.
a long time.
like if you really think about it, like that's kind of when like the tattooing was just starting to really boom into the mainstreams.
Yeah.
And you're like, that shit was illegal till 1997. That's crazy.
And that was only 20 years ago.
Yeah. It's because they had a big hepatitis outbreak
Oh.
back in the, I think it was like the
I think
60s or
people were
something.
scared to get fucking tattoos,
Yeah.
even though they wanted to.
Well, back in the day, it was gnarly. Nowadays, you know, it's like going to a doctor's office. You know, everything's new and disposable.
At least for the legit shops, it is.
I remember
Yeah.
the guy who taught me how to tattoo was this old fucking sailor guy, and he used to tell me stories about way back in the 50s when they used to do the Navy tattoos and shit.
Ah, yeah.
They used to, in the morning, they'd have a bucket, like a mop bucket, and they would fill it with water, and they'd put a big, like those big yellow car washing sponges.
Oh, okay.
And they'd put that in there, and then they would tattoo
Oh.
people, and they'd take the sponge and they'd wash
Oh, that's
it.
disgusting.
And so all the blood and fucking hepatitis and shit would just be on there.
That's disgusting.
And they wrap you up, send you next guy gets in. You know, you don't clean the bucket till that
Why
night.
wouldn't they think, this is probably just, why don't, how
Because
does,
back in the day, people didn't
know.
Yeah, they didn't know. You know,
Didn't care.
was there bleach back then? When was bleach invented? Like,
they had bleach, but you don't want to put bleach on your skin.
oh no, yeah, I can't.
Fuck you up.
What could have you used? Fabuloso?
Windex.
Yeah, not recommended.
I don't know. Gosh.
We had some fun times. You were at the party when Rob got his butt tattooed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got a smiley face
My
on
booty.
his butt by a drunk person.
Yeah, so once a
It's
year
all-
we used to have these like ragers at the tattoo shop. We'd close it down, kick it off at like 10 o'clock at night.
Nice.
and a lot of it were musicians and other tattoo artists and stuff. And I had this guy who always hung around. He was our roommate for a little while, and they had a drinking contest, and the loser got a tattoo on their ass, and my buddy Carl won. So Rob was the one getting a tattoo, and Rob was like, "All right, motherfucker," but just a little tiny happy face.
Yeah.
So we all the tattoo artists set up everything so it's nice, clean, and sterile. And we're like, all right, Carl, we need to give him a little quick lesson. And then we're like, okay, just go slow and do all this stuff. Carl just straight jabbed him right in the ass.
Oh, no.
Made a big ass happy face, right? Oh. Did the 2 eyes and then in the fucking smile. Yeah. And we're like, okay, dude, stop. And then he's like, no, one more thing. And then he takes a tongue. He draws a tongue like going towards his ass crack. Big ass tongue.
Damn. I wonder if he has it covered up.
And then we bandaged him up, and he was pretty drunk. And then we take him home, and then the next morning he wakes up and he's like walking funny. He's like, my ass hurt.
Oh my God, what happened to me last night? That's funny.
That shit was hilarious.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any tattoo regrets?
No, I don't. I only have 3. I actually want to get more, but when I wanted to get more, literally I had like a jar with money saving for tattoos. Yeah. So I wanted to get like a colored one. And so, till this day I still haven't been able to decide what I want next, but always thinking about something. Mm-hmm. But I just have my heart here on my hip, and then I have a Portuguese one here, which basically says all in the name of love, and then I have my birds right here on my shoulder.
Nice.
That's about it.
What about you? You got any regrets?
I have placement regrets. Like on my shoulder, I have an anchor with a rose. And I mean, I like the tattoo. I just wish I didn't do it on my shoulder because I'd want a big back piece that's like cohesive.
Yeah.
Yeah, but back then, it was my very first tattoo I ever had, right when I turned 18. Oh, okay. I didn't know.
Yeah, you weren't sure.
Yeah.
I only have, I don't really regret any of them because they're all like different points in time. They're all like fun times to represent. The only thing that is kind of weird, I'm a little embarrassed about it, it's just I was super cocky in my 20s. Oh. And I got visionary tattooed across my shoulders. Like huge. But it's it's huge, and it says visionary in like Gothic letters.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
You gotta post it. Insert clip here.
So, if people see it, I'm assuming they're kind of like, oh, look at that cocky fuck.
Well, it's true. I think we all kind of have a little bit of that at least, or should. Have some vision.
You're confident in yourself.
Yeah.
When I got it, it was either going to be unconventional, because I used to be in a band called Unconventional Thought Process, which I should have got, because that would have worked. But I was like, no, fuck that.
Visionary.
Yeah, I got visionary.
Visionary, that's what it is.
That used to be my thing. I used to say, deadly is the visionary, motherfuckers,
Well, there you go.
Yeah. But now, not so much.
What about meaningful tattoos? Like, what's your most meaningful?
I got like sad ones. Like, I have this bloody pumpkin.
I don't want to hear your sad ones.
This is
my
most meaningful one.
Okay.
It's a bloody pumpkin because my first memory was driving up this hill to my grandparents' house, and my dad was abusive to my mom, and they were like in their early 20s. My mom, again, had me when she was like 16. And that's like, because they say like when you're a little kid, either something very exciting or something very like traumatic, like kind of kicks on your hard drive, so when you start remembering shit. Yeah, and I was probably like 2 or 3, and I just remember like I was like sitting in the middle of them, and they were just like
arguing,
like physically like beating the shit out of each other, like bloody beating, So I got that tattooed just to remind myself not to be an asshole, And then
well, you're not an asshole, so good job.
Yeah, there you go.
Don't beat women.
It's working.
And then I got like tons of horror movie stuff. Me and my mom like weren't that close, but we did watch tons of horror movies together. That was always kind of like our thing when we did do stuff. So that's always just been an interest and love of mine.
That's cute.
What about you, Susana?
My most meaningful. Well, the first one I got means nothing other than just a cute
The
little
heart.
heart.
Just testing it out.
Yeah, I was just like, why did I get it in
They
this
don't
area?
all have to have a meaning. I'm not saying they all have to have a meaning.
But that one is just to get one, to get the whole deal
Get the ball
started.
rolling.
Yeah, basically. The one on my side, on my rib, that one definitely means a lot more to me because I do see myself as somebody that, gives it your all or gives nothing at all. So it's like all in the name of love, and I always kind of do things from my heart, like if I give some things because I mean it and I don't expect nothing back kind of thing. And I got it when me and Diego broke up. Like, we've only broken up once in our lives. And we broke up once, and it was like for 6 months, and I got it during that time. And I got it in Portuguese because I was like, if he's gonna never be in my life again, he was like one of the best stories, romantic stories in my life. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna get that. And plus it means something to me. The only part of him was in Portuguese, right? Because I also learned Portuguese, so whatever. But then we got back together, so it all worked out. And then the birds one, I loved that one because of Bob Marley, the Three Little Birds. To kind of remind me, because I've been through a lot of shit and still sometimes go through stuff, and it just reminds you that everything's gonna be all right. Just live.
What about you?
Well, my favorite one is the one I got for our son.
Oh, it's so cute.
I got one
It's
too.
a little Cupid dressed as Jack Skellington, and he has a Cupid dressed as a skeleton.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah.
But I think the most meaningful is probably the one I got on my wrist. It's actually a symbol from one of the Deftones albums. It doesn't relate to Deftones, the meaning though.
Oh,
Is it also one of your biggest regret ones because the guy missed a line?
Yeah. Well, I need it fixed. I need it fixed, but it was. I didn't have very many tattoos at the time. I was in college, and the tattoos I did have were all able to hide.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because I was family pressures, giving the lectures and all that. Don't get tattoos that are visible.
Yeah.
And then one day while I was living in San Francisco, I got a phone call, and my uncle had been diagnosed with ALS.
Oh.
And it just made me realize life is too short.
Yeah. Yeah,
don't try and hide who you really are, So that night, after quite a few drinks, I went out and got tattooed right on my wrist.
Yeah.
And yep, here it is. I mean, it was a drunk tattoo, so it's not done very well, but
Hey, the meaning is what's important.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, your family's heavy on the tattoos.
They're a lot better now.
Yeah, no, totally.
A lot better now.
I remember I got my neck done right before we got married, and
mom
her mom was crying. I felt bad, but
Dude.
at the same time, you gotta. My mom used to be I used to dye my hair mohawks and all kinds of shit when I was a little kid, and she's like, if I catch you dyeing your hair, I'm gonna shave your head. I'm like, oh fuck it, shave my head.
Man,
you gotta live life.
I when I got my first tattoo, it was healing, and I was living with my mom. So I was like, because my jeans and stuff. And she's like, what's wrong? And I was like, I got a tattoo. And she's like, what? You told her? Yeah, we lived together, and she did not talk to me or want to see me. She would avoid me if she knew I was home.
Yeah.
For maybe almost 2 weeks.
Just for a little tattoo?
Seriously.
Wow.
We were raised Catholic, and just all these culture things forbidden things that, and I don't get it because my dad had tattoos, my grandma had tattoos on my dad's side, my mom knew people in her family that had a bunch of tattoos and stuff, but she always related it to people being bad, because they were in prison. My cousin went to prison, and now he's all tatted up and he can't get a job, and just all that, right? And I was like, I get it makes sense, but that's not why I got it.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then when I got my second tattoo, she slapped me on my leg. We were at dinner with my siblings and stuff in public, and she's like, "Bah!" And I'm like, oh no, she fucking didn't hit me in front of people. And I was like, ha, you crazy. I was just mad, and I'm just but I had to look at her and be like, I'm grown, you can't do that to me, you cannot, And then I got my next tattoo, which was these, and then she was like, oh, it's cute. Like she just like gave it, like, you know,
Gave
fuck
up.
it. Yeah.
My mom used to guilt trip me because I got mine when I was like 17 because I could grow a beard when I was in high school.
yeah.
So I just went
Man
in.
the
I'm like,
man.
hey, let me get number 12. You know.
Yeah. Just get something going.
But she used to like. I used to like, leave for a couple months, play shows, and come back, and then you know, every time I'd come back, I'd have more tattoos, and she'd be like, take her shirt off, and I'd take it off, and then she'd like,
The check.
yeah, she would be like, oh my god, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And then she'd, you know, be all sad and you know, give me the cold shoulder or whatever. But then after a while, she just knew the more she tells me not to do something,
The more you do it.
the more
you're gonna
tattooed I
do it.
become. So,
Yeah.
so then she backed off.
Every time it's like you grew new limbs. It's like dang. But did she like the one that's kind of? Did you explain your other arm where
Yeah,
you know the
she
horror?
still-
She didn't. Think.
No, she's like, well, you should just watch movies. You don't need to.
Yeah.
You don't need to.
But why is
draw
she
that shit all
so
over
against
you.
it? Why is she so against it?
I think it's just that generation. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's
It is
in the-
generational.
a lot of like prisoners in the 70s and stuff, 60s
True.
and 70s are all like tatted, and
True.
you know, like in the 90s, it became an art form.
Yeah.
You know, for everybody
With
in
the
in
sun belly button.
Oh my god! And
don't have that, by
the
the
tramp stamps. Yeah. Remember? When I wanted one so bad, and then I was
Tramp
like,
stamp.
I can't do it. They're gonna call me a tramp. But that's literally what they would call them. Like,
Yeah.
anyway.
What was your most painful one?
Painful? Probably the top of my foot.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Or my toes.
Oh, God,
My
you got your
toes are-
toes tattooed,
yeah.
girlfriend.
My toes are pretty painful.
I can't even imagine. It's like,
Yeah, that's a very bony area.
Yeah.
So if
it's
it's your
just so
first
soft.
tattoo, I don't suggest it.
Mine was I just had my stomach done. Shout out to Chris Clement.
he finished it.
Yeah, it's just my
Ooh,
entire
cool.
stomach. And
Tell
it,
me the story.
the first session was good.
Yeah.
And then Bane got me sick. You know, I was sick when we started the podcast. And then the second session, I didn't get much sleep the night before because he was up all night. And yeah, I went in there and it was just fucking. It was like the most painful
Brutal.
shit
But
ever.
you weren't feeling well, so you weren't on top of your game,
Yeah.
first of all.
And then the third session, I was like, "Fuck, should I numb my stomach or something?" Because this,
It just
'cause
really,
it's all
really
high contrast black stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And then I went in and he's like, okay, well, if you're like, you know, if you're still feeling that way, we'll numb it up. And I'm like, all right, let's go. And then he started tattooing again after I had a good night's sleep and I was feeling healthy. And then I was smooth sailing.
Cool.
So I don't know.
That was a rough heel,
But yeah,
though.
that second session was crazy. Oh yeah, and that's the terrible thing about tattooing your stomach. It's like, you know, when you do your arms and stuff, it's okay. You know, like the crease of your arm is kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
But your stomach, fuck, it's like you
You don't realize how much you
often
use your
stomach.
core until you're in pain.
But it's over
Man,
now.
they all hurt for me.
Yeah.
And I just laughing the whole time and crying. And the guy was just laughing, and he's like, "I'm gonna need you to stop laughing," because I kept moving.
Yeah.
But I was laughing out of nervousness, and at some point on each tattoo, it just stopped hurting, and I was just enjoying the pain, I guess. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And it just kind of went numb, like that area. And I
Well,
was
your
like,
body will
the
release
shading.
endorphins.
Yeah, and so I guess that's what happened to me, and I was like,
Yeah.
But the first one, man, it was terrible for me.
Oh man, I almost didn't get my first tattoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I walked into that tattoo shop and I had this appointment for like a month because I was so excited I was turning 18.
Yeah, yeah.
And I walk in for my appointment and there's this guy laying down on the bench getting tattooed. They were tattooing over his belly button. He had an Audi and he had a full like chest stomach piece. And the
Damn.
belly button, he was crying and screaming. I've never seen a grown man cry like that.
Oh, man. That's not what you want to see.
No. So I was like, oh, should I stay? Should I go?
Yeah. Remember that video I tagged y'all in where they were tattooing the nipple like in slow motion?
Oh,
They
yeah.
showed it.
Yeah.
I was watching. I was like, "Oh, I gotta tag them so they can see how disturbing this is." Man, that looks painful.
All my friends that only have like one or two tattoos, did you go home and do the Instagram like
Nah.
you like pull your pants down just enough so it pops out.
Oh yeah.
I didn't do that. I literally waited till it was healed enough to actually be able to even take a picture. It hurt to even bend and try to do it. So I was
I got like
just
buddies
split
that
it.
they just have like one tattoo here, and then they'll roll up one sleeve and be like,
Yeah.
and just went.
Going.
I did. I've always liked to wear, as an older person, the shirts that show off your shoulders or leave them
Yeah.
on. I love it. I love to
Yeah.
show this one off
Yeah.
whenever I get a chance. I mean,
Yeah, why not?
Why not? It's sexy
That's what it's
and I
there
like
for,
the
huh?
tattoo. Yeah, so like it.
I had one of my clients, his name's George, he's an MMA fighter back in the day, and it's a funny story. He had this like volatile relationship with his girlfriend, and he came in and I tattooed him a bunch of times, and then he wanted this girl's name, and his name is George, and her name was Georgette,
Oh my gosh.
right? And we just called her G or whatever.
Georgette.
And he's like, okay, I want her name like right here on his collar.
Never
right?
get a name.
And I was like, are you sure? But, and we did the whole like, telling him that, it's a bad omen. And he's like, yeah, I want it right here. And I'm like, all right, cool. Then he goes, and then a month later he comes back in. Oh, we broke up, dude. Covered up.
Oh God.
And then I'm like, all right, dude. So we do something over that, and then like literally this went on for like 8 months. Every like other month, sometimes within like 3 weeks, he would come back and be like, he got her name here. He got it on his arm. He got it on his ribs.
Wait, the same girl?
Same girl.
Every time they were on
and
and
she
off.
came in. She came in twice and got his name twice.
Oh my god.
Once on her arm and
That
then
is so
once
stupid.
above her belly button or whatever. And then we covered that shit up. And then the last time he got it on his throat. And we're like, dude, you can't fucking get this chick's name on his
she's
throat.
gonna kill you.
He's like,
No.
nah. He's like, you guys don't fucking understand. I'm gonna marry this girl, dude. Like this and that. And we're like, dude.
All right.
And then we fucking did it. And then they broke up for the last time. And then Adam had to come in, and Adam actually did like a star on his throat.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, so don't get people's names.
I love you, but I
man.
wouldn't get your name.
No.
Yeah. Like, yeah, that's going too far, I told Diego. And then you get into that, like, you'll get there and you'll be like, man, fuck, I'm just going to get the first letter.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, better not. Like, know,
Well,
but sometimes I have felt
And
like I'm going to just
if
get
you,
a
if you
D.
get a D, then you know how many people are gonna give you shit about that.
Yeah.
Oh, Susana loves that D.
Susanna gets that D.
It ain't a lie. Either way,
That's why they call her Susana Banana.
I couldn't agree more.
Incriminating herself.
For the record.
Sorry, Diego.
He's all like,
Do we have another sponsor?
oh, I'm sorry.
We're having too good of a time.
Thinking about bananas.
Whoa.
No, the real bananas. I literally had a banana before I came here. Anyway, this episode is also brought to you by Mod Ministry. Mod Ministry merch creates for the edgy woman, the kind of woman who works hard but plays much harder, who embraces femininity but tests the societal limits. We are not for the faint of heart. We are bold. We are beautiful. Check out the Mod Ministry Etsy page for handmade harness lingerie. 5-star rated seller since 2014.
Yeah, and I also have a new website that just launched a couple days ago. Check it out.
Get that sexy shit. You're gonna have a sale, right, on a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, for my 5-year anniversary.
Nice.
Coming up in a couple weeks after
Over-
we get back from California.
8,000 lifetime sales.
Yeah, I got a notification that I've had over 8,000 sales on Etsy.
That's so badass.
Thanks
Felt
for all the
pretty
support.
accomplished. Thank you, everyone. I love you. Mwah.
Time for some life in the comment section.
Yes.
All right. We do have a comment from bking22.15 from Instagram. It says, OMG, you should try lutefisk as a poor Lutheran girl. We would eat that every Christmas. Just look how it is made and be prepared to gag in reference to the food episode.
I know, that's my homie Brenda King.
Oh.
And then we had to look up Luke Fist because I'd never heard of it.
Yeah.
Lutefisk.
Luke Fist. And it's gross as fuck. Like in this video we watched, like they put the fish in lye.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
While they're alive.
yeah, and it's fucking the smell. They say you could
horrible.
smell it for like a mile
Gross.
away.
Gagging.
And she said she had to eat that every Christmas.
Why though? Like, I mean, why? It's a tradition,
But
right?
yeah, it's probably a tradition.
Yeah.
I'm not like real versed in. I mean, I was baptized Catholic, but I'm not versed in the like Lutheran and
Yeah, I'm not either.
and the other ones.
Neither.
So,
But,
but I'm sure it's a tradition. But yeah, we looked it up though. It's fucking gross.
I mean, we like anchovies and sardines.
I love
don't know,
anchovies.
fish, but I don't know if I ever like lutefisk.
Yeah, no, I think I'll stay away from that
Yeah,
one.
if it smells like a mile away, I don't think I'd come
Yeah.
towards that.
Yeah.
Moving on.
All right, we've got Davina Mendez from Facebook. She said, please, twice a week this podcast. It is amazing. Thank you, Davina. You're amazing.
Well, we got the yay or nay. We're gonna start putting those out.
Yeah.
We'll put those out a couple times a week.
Kill.
It's a lot of work to edit a podcast.
It is.
But the more
You're good.
support, the more we can do. So
Yes.
definitely hit us up as we
Or
conclude
check out our
this one.
Patreon if you want to see more, too.
Yeah, our
Yes.
next the next one that's coming out, because I believe is our what do you call it? Never Have I Ever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one.
That
It's
one
a funny
gets
one.
crazy.
Cool. Well, that was a fun one. Check us out at necroelectric.com, Patreon/necroelectric. Add us on all the fucking socials, everything.
Pretty much just Google Necro Electric and you'll find it all.
Yes. Ooh,
Tell your
us,
friends.
yeah.
And give us a review on
Yeah.
iTunes.
Reviews, please. Subscribe.
The
like.
more reviews, the more we get exposed to people.
Yes.
So
And even if they're bad reviews, hit us.
yeah, we
Yeah.
don't give a
Hit
shit.
us with your best shot.
We'll clap back. We don't give a fuck.
And
What
do,
about-
do you have any bad tattoo stories?
Yeah.
let us
Comment in the
know.
fucking.
Yeah,
Any
tell us.
regrets?
Do you have anything you want to plug or shout out?
Nope, just shout out to my fam, that my cousins, my brother, they're very supportive. They love to watch the podcast. So
They
leave
comment a lot.
leave
Thank you,
like.
guys.
Yes.
We should have your brother on here. You guys, you guys could tell some fucking
Oh my God, he's
ka-ching
hilarious.
stories.
Oh, I want to hear.
He's a funny
Ooh.
guy. He'd have y'all laughing.
All right. Maybe in
that'll
the
be
future.
works.
What about you, Love?
Modministrymerch.com. Check it out.
Boom.
Oh, and last nail in the coffin, if you like my band, we're going to LA and to back home this weekend, next week, and me and Greg are gonna go through all the tracks for the new album. So
Cool.
if
New
you like,
album coming soon.
check it out.
Yeah.
I wish I could yell like that. I just can't. Probably end up throwing up. I'm like, trying to force it. It's a talent.
All right, see you guys next time.
Later.
Later.